And we would love you to read along with us.
There's no action.
No.
Joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain. They cannot suffer. Why would they not be joyous? They are sure they are beloved and must be safe. Joy goes with gentleness as surely as grief attends attack. God's teachers trust in him, and they are sure his teacher goes before them, making sure no harm can come to them. They hold his gifts and follow in his way, because God's voice directs them in all things. Joy is their song of thanks, and Christ looks down on them and thanks as well. His need of them is just as great as theirs of him. How joyous it is to share the purpose of salvation.
Yoo-hoo! It's our word for today. They cannot suffer. It's totally beautiful.
It's good news. I like this news. And his need of them, his need of us, is just as great as our need of him. Is very cool. We're as important to this plan and as essential as the Christ consciousness and Jesus as a manifestation of the Christ consciousness. We are just as important. That's a really hard thing to get your mind around. You can hear the words, you can say it. You are essential. I mean, it's not happening without you. And you are just as important, not more, not less.
As Jesus?
Yes. He's in charge. See, Jesus is in charge because he was the first. So he's directing the plan. But his part is no more important than each of ours.
But he's the CEO.
But he's the CEO. But without each of us doing our part, the cake isn't baked. It doesn't happen. So that's why it's essential. All the ingredients are required. And each part that's played in an awakening is just as important as the other. If the reason why it's just as important, if that part's not done, the thing's not completed. So every part is just as important. It just looks different in the physical manifestation and in authority, meaning that he's the one in charge because he's the first to accomplish and knows what's going on. So he's going to save us a lot of time by directing this plan, and he's given that purpose. So that looks like he's more important, but per the Course, that's not how it works. If your part is essential to it happening, it's just as important as his part. Isn't that? It's kind of hard to get your mind around.
It's good news, but I don't know, in a way it sounds a little grandiose. Kind of, you know what I mean? Still, some things sound narcissistic and grandiose. Mm-hmm. And
because we are, the reason is, the Course explains why we have a hard time accepting the grandeur. It's not grandiose, is trying to be more than someone else. Grandeur is accepting you are just as valuable as every other son of God, and just as essential. Grandeur is the word, because we are that grand, each of us equally. Grandiosity is about trying to get more, being more special, and so that's why our innate nature is to not listen to this message, because we're used to this ego domain of superior, inferior, who's in the pecking order, and we don't understand this equality of magnitude. So, but it is exactly what we need to understand, because it's exactly who we were created by God to be. And anything other than that is a lie.
And arrogant.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, arrogant.
It's a lie because it's not what we're told. We're all that equally valuable, which is a wonderful, can you see how much peace would come if people in general felt that wherever they're manifesting, however they are as important as anybody else, that none of the physical differences are putting people above and below. If everyone could feel that kind of worth, how much more gentle would they be? Just automatically. Because they don't need to fight for pecking order. They don't need to fight to establish who they are. They're coming from within, from his message. And so you can see why this is important to get. And it's not just doesn't sit in your mind. It just doesn't go with everything you've been taught, does it?